For those of you who are a little behind in the Witcher news loop, Kovir has been revealed to be the location for The Witcher 4. This was revealed in the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, and while the gameplay shown on screen isn't actually gameplay, all of the information we were given about the location actually is real. We can also infer from this tech reveal trailer that the terrain shown will not be dissimilar to what we see in the final product of The Witcher 4. While the graphics may differ from this tech demo, I believe they will, the terrain and what is shown, the villages and such, will remain largely the same. Kovir being the location of The Witcher 4 is huge for book and game fans alike. We've heard plenty about Kovir if you've read the books, and even so if you've only played the games. Kovir is quite different to anything we've seen before, as their policy with mages, their politics, and their mythical areas are entirely different to anything we've seen before. But before we discuss Kovir in depth, I'd like to humbly ask you guys to subscribe and like the video if you do end up liking the video. This greatly supports the channel and me, of course. But without further ado, let's get straight into the topic of today's video. Kovir is actually part of the kingdom called Kovir and Poviss. This is the northeasternmost part of the continent. Kovir is almost completely untouched by the northern wars we see take place throughout the books and the games, and they do like to remain this neutral, indifferent party that just offers trade. Kovir is not so far in terms of travel if you actually look at the Witcher map, although while it is not far in terms of travel distance, it's most certainly far when it comes to ethics and politics. As I discussed earlier, mages are widely accepted in Kovir. That could never happen in a place like Novigrad, as we see a lot in The Witcher 3. But why is Kovir actually special? I'd say Kovir is quite special for many reasons, namely geography, politics, and mystique. I'm very happy to say that Kovir is relatively unexplored and we don't really know everything there is to know about it. This gives CDPR plenty of room to expand and create whatever they like, hopefully staying faithful to the book and game lore. There's so much to be explored and expanded on when it comes to Kovir, but let's talk about what we can explore and expand on in the current moment. Kovir is far and away the most wealthy kingdom in the entirety of the continent. This is due to Kovir's ability to trade so often and in such large quantities. They have access to huge deposits of minerals and things that keeps mages and merchants running. Kovir is actually never directly involved in war. As I mentioned earlier, they mainly stick to trading and they keep a neutral stance. Kovir are always present in war via trade, kind of like an indifferent third party. This creates a pretty interesting dynamic for when we do explore Kovir, as we're not going to be surrounded by the troubles of war. In The Witcher 3, 2, and 1 actually, the effects of war are quite present, or at least conflict among the people. I expect to see a whole lot less of this in Kovir, and I'm really excited for what new opportunities that absence is going to bring. As I mentioned earlier, the tech demo showed some locale of Kovir. This may not be playable, however it will give you a rough idea of what places are going to look like. I don't know about you guys, but I'm incredibly happy with the design choice. This looks a lot like what I expected Kovir to look like, and it's a lot closer to a witchery look than anything we've seen before, I think. Really excited to see what opulent cities like Lan Exeter look like, but Valdrest looks really good here. Speaking of other locations in Kovir, it seems that we got revealed to us. Here we have the village of Stromford. The girl shown in the reveal trailer was called Mione, for those who do not know. Sebastian Kalemba, when breaking down the reveal trailer, heavily implied that you would be capable of saving Mione in the game. This of course backs up my idea that while this stuff isn't direct gameplay, it will have some sort of stake in the final product, The Witcher 4. Going back to the lore of Kovir, however, mages are widely accepted in Kovir, and Triss actually lived there for a period in the books. I believe it was after the Thanedd coup. Triss regards Kovir as a safe place and has a lot of connections and friends there, as she notes in The Witcher 3. Mages being more accepted in Kovir is going to allow for a lot more magical events to happen in the game. A lot more quests involving mages and of course magic. Tancred Thyssen, the king of Kovir and Poviss and the only son of Esterad Thyssen, has actually helped with the asylum seeking of mages as we see in The Witcher 3. I think it's going to be a nice breath of fresh air to see mages walking around free and willy-nilly. This is going to be a far stretch away from familiarity, as in The Witcher 3 we're very used to seeing a new mage being burned at the stake every other day. CDPR have definitely got their work cut out for them when it comes to filling in the void of Kovir. Sapkowski gave a general framework of what Kovir is like, but didn't go into painstaking detail about it. Instead of politics, I'd like to focus on the geographical elements we may observe in The Witcher 4. Kovir is home to some quite mythical locale, speaking specifically about the Dragon Mountains. In the world of the Witcher book, villain Tretenmirth, an ancient golden dragon, one of two mentioned in the lore, stated that nobody has ever dared cross their peaks. Given the fact that villain Tretenmirth should be relatively unbiased, also the fact that he's hundreds to thousands of years old and has lived among many different cultures in many different forms, I definitely believe his telling of history. history, meaning that we have our work cut out for us when it comes to exploration. The Dragon Mountains are arguably the biggest mountains in the Witcher universe. The only ones that even hold a candle to them in terms of lore and description would be the mountains in Mahakam. The mountains in Skellige are the best mountains that we've had today, and to be honest, they're rather lackluster. I'm not going to count Tusa and Mount Gorgon as it isn't incorporated in the main land or the main story, but finally having mountains that feel like real mountains would be awesome. I'd really like to see the Dragon Mountains be quite ethereal and dangerous to travel through. This is potentially where the School of the Lynx could be based, as we've seen Witcher schools go into mountains before, with Kaer Morhen, the School of the Bear in the Amel Mountains, the School of the Griffin, who are actually in Kovir and Poviss, potentially even on the Dragon Mountains, although as mentioned before, not on their peaks. This is all assuming that the Order of Witchers, not the original Order of Witchers, but the general order in which Witchers are currently present, hasn't completely deconstructed or shifted entirely, which I'm assuming it will have, most likely. But I digress. Kovir has great potential geographically, and I'm really excited to see what CDPR do with it. I really hope that they nail Kovir. There really isn't a whole lot to say about Kovir, and frankly I'm happy that it is that way. But today we went over absolutely everything that I could think of to do with Kovir, and I thought it would be best to unveil what we do know in preparation for what we don't know coming into light. CDPR have a goldmine on their hands, and I really hope that they utilize it correctly. I really hope that they expand on the book lore and of course the game lore. I think it's inevitable that they do so. They've been quite faithful to the lore in the past, so I'm sure that it will be alright. Let me know how you guys feel about Kovir in the comments below. Are you guys excited for it, or are you not really interested? If you think there's anything that I could have added into this video that I maybe missed out or had forgotten, also let me know in the comments below. But that'll be all for me today, guys. I hope you all have a great one and take care. Love.